Good evening. This is recitation number 2 of Storytime with bardofthewoods.com. You may find most of my work online at bardofthewoods.com, and if you don't already follow me there, I hope you will. Tonight I'm going to catch you up by reciting the 3 last poems I have written, starting with the most recent and working backwards. The first 2 were written for my Writers Club, and the third for personal reasons. I hope you enjoy them. The first is the result of a challenge to write about death for our monthly poetry night. The poet whose work and life we focused on last Monday evening was Edgar Allan Poe. For those of you unfamiliar with him, his life was filled with loss, beginning with abandonment by his father at age 1 and the death of his mother at age 2. People he loved, including his own wife, died of tuberculosis, and all about many others died from additional dread diseases for which there was no cure. He suffered from an addiction to gambling, alcohol, and opium, addictions undoubtedly fueled by his hardships. He died at the age of 40, and his death has been variously attributed to alcohol, brain congestion, cholera, drugs, heart disease, rabies, suicide, tuberculosis, and other agents. I was not of the mindset to write about death, but attempted to rise to the occasion. Although my style is different, Poe and his life were my inspiration for Death Comes a Horseman. There is a great black cloud which fills the void between the prairie to the sky. It blocks the sun and breathes, and as it does, exhales a wind from the soot and sulfur-filled lungs of the dark side. It rolls onward, and before it comes a pale horseman. On ashen steed he rides, its stride long, its neck outstretched, its nostrils flared, and it reeks of death. It gallops on a wind that bears the putrid stench of rotting flesh, tribulations and lamentations. The monster cloud builds as it rolls across the earth, feeding on the life which clings to it, and blood falls from it like rain, and the rivers and roads between our crops run red. It visits us a nightmare and brings a pox upon both the young and aged. The horseman wields a sigh, he sweeps across the land. It fells beast and plant and all before it. None shall live to tell the tale of our flesh turned to dust and our teeth to sand. None shall know our tribulations nor hear our lamentations. For the pale horseman will spare none to tell our story, except for you, our fortunate friend. We of sickly pallor, the whites of our eyes gone yellow, in windows do we wait. Blood-stained cloths we hold to our faces, the rider delivers our fate. Consumption eats our lungs. The preacher and the atheist debate. Have mercy on our souls, says one. There is no God, the other. What know you of what lies beyond the edge of the universe, cries the agnostic. Of what is made the dark matter? What is made the dark matter which fills the void between the stars? And all about them, both the wicked and the innocent pray for mercy. One repents, and each makes promises they will never live to keep, for too late they come to the table. And in this world, death comes even to the stable. Nothing left to do but pace and weep, tribulations and lamentations, pestilence and plague upon us, locust all about, into our walls they seep, through the floorboards fanged and scaled serpents creep. The horseman thunders through our door, the chest of the ashen steed heaves as its hooves pound the floor. Fire from its nostrils sets our house ablaze. Death, come quickly, please. Tribulation and lamentations. Now 'tis your job to pass this word. The burden of the lesson falls to you. In the end, we all do learn. Cries for exceptions will be unheard. Death always keeps its appointed rounds. For one day you were born from ground, and another we return. One day we overestimate our worth, and all too soon we're turned to dirt. The consensus of the Writers Club was that I successfully channeled Poe, if only in spirit. This next poem was also written for the club. It was not the result of a particular challenge. I drew upon my experience as an amateur boxer in this one, but rather than explain it further, I'll simply recite it. Shadow boxer. He works in the quiet corner of a dank and darkened gym. It reeks of the sweat of men of color and the working stiff. Alone, it's just the mirror, the floor, and him. Gone are the days he was all angle iron and barbed wire, on 2 feet fighting for fun or hire. Yet his hands are wrapped tight as his hardened core, hardened still, but less so than years before. At one time his fists were like 10-pound stones, the other his core like a granite slab. Only now he feels the grind of the cracks that run through them, but he's tapped for this fight and steps into the ring once more. For now he jabs at his opponent, who smoothly counters punch for punch, and he slides across the wall, taking cover under his jab, protects his chin under a shoulder hunched, as each fighter shuffles to the rhythm of his plan. Too well each knows the other man. In his mind he is the pugilist, young and elusive, the sweet scientist, a feint, a slip, a bob, and a weave, luring the old guy in, then suddenly impetuous, the brawling banger. He lets loose his famous left hook, which he drives from his hips, all the way from South Chicago to East Philly. It's one that's caused many a pug to take leave from their senses. But the guy in the mirror just gives it a shrug, and into the breach he advances. He's bold and he's cold and not afraid to take chances, strong on offense. And though worn and torn, his opponent reminds him of someone he once knew in his younger days, someone who reminds him of his once careless ways. Light is in his corner, but very dim, still enough to illuminate the scars of the other man, the laced brows of bigotry, the thickened eyelids of narcissism, the cauliflower ear, one of infidelity, the other of conceit. They are less trophies than sins. He feels the guilt that comes from knowing at one time, to him, there was no difference. He sees that look in his eyes, and the other guy sees and feels it too. He wants to take this guy out, make him feel pain, make him pay, make him lose. He wants to punish him for the smallest mistake, today's and yesterday's. Prove that pride is a costly corner man. A double jab, a hook to the rib, break that floater, feel it crunch all the way through the glove, up the forearm and into his shoulder, then across to twist the chin, to twist the jaw, to twist the spine, then hopefully lights out. Let blood, sweat, and spittle fly across the ring, over the ropes and into the crowd, across the face of family and all who judge. But the punches seem to glance off, and the old guy keeps coming, the one guy he never handed a loss. The old guy carries him a reminder of everything he ever walked away from. No, not fights or punches. He took the best and brunt of those. The judge's cards be damned. But from the loves, the smiles, the laughter, days spent with the young and the old, the hopes, the dreams, and the big brass ring of what is now lost and unfulfilled potential. And closing the gap, his opponent now leads with his right, his strong hand, and catches him right in his conscience. His head reels, his ears ring, and so does the bell. And the guy in the mirror raises his left hand he calls time, and his right hand he calls past, in a ring of broken dreams. Our fighter's down on the canvas, then awakens in bed, dripping in sweat, until the next night when he steps in the ring with the stone cold undefeated. A dark shadow in a black satin robe that bears his name in red, regret. And once more our fighter digs deep down, in his guts, deep down into his soul, and gives all for the upset. This last one is the most personal of the three and was written for a very personal audience. But perhaps some of you can relate and appreciate the sound of a breaking heart. What sound does a heart make when it breaks? Is it as quiet as the breath that now you cannot take, or is the goodbye you never heard? Is it the sound of the fluttering broken wing of a bird as it struggles in vain to fly, while you watch helplessly as your broken heart joins in a rhythmic sync with it in what seems its own attempt not to die? What difference between your heart and the broken sparrow on this cold December day? Love and nature can be hard on all God's creatures. Is it the sound of a room once full of furniture and the life and love of family, now vacant of wood, fabric, leather, and laughter, echoing as though of the lone chaplain's footsteps on an empty hospital hallway long past the midnight hour? Is it the sound of frozen tears dropping on a china plate, the tink when they shatter after falling from your face? Or more like icicles falling off the eaves of a roof, which crash then shatter loudly, and you take this as proof that this is the sound a heart makes when it breaks. What is the sound hope makes when it leaves your heart? Is it the sound of a ship's mainsail, one moment full and tight, the next canvas collapsing on itself as its life's breath, the wind, dies? Is that the sound love makes when it decides to depart? Or is it the echo of her laughter or a kind word that she said? Each one you play over at night as you lie in your bed, saddened by the emptiness where just nights before lay her head. Such a short time ago her scent still lingers on the pillow, and you wonder when dreams die, just where do they go? Oh, hazel eyes, I miss you. Oh, hazel eyes, what I would give to kiss you once more. Oh, what I would give to write the poetry I promised you, to read the stories I had yet to read and the ones which I would write for you, to put you in them like some long-lost Russian ballerina who stole a schoolboy's heart, to dance the dances we would have danced, to travel the miles to Rome and Paris I would have traveled with you, to feel the smiles we would have smiled along the way. This is the picture a bard had painted on his open heart he wished to share with you. Words unspoken, tales untold, dances left undanced, smiles left unsmiled, love ungiven. With soft and gentle hazel eyes, nothing to be forgiven, and nothing will be forgotten. Good night.